Hello everybody and welcome back, and the party are at the Gnomish Ferry and we're about to set off when we hear the thunder of horses' hooves behind us, and who comes riding up but Piotr's son Taras. And he goes, Uncle Stephen, I finally caught up with you. Everybody stops and asks what's wrong. Nothing's wrong, he just wanted to join in. Oh, the folly of youth. Okay, so we've got him tagging along, and we're going to make it all the way to Rifllian. We set off early in the morning, so it is mid-afternoon by the time we get to there, and this is a good, fairly well-worn road. And this is our little map here. It's a small town. Let's read up a little bit about it. Riflian is a small elven village of 170 inhabitants on the western bank of the Windrush River. The village is an outpost of the Callarii elves and serves as a trading post for those wishing to trade with the elves, or simply as a stopping place by travellers. The buildings are all made of wood and are 2 stories high. Now it says it's mostly elves, it's not exclusively the elves. How do we cross this river? We must have to take yet another ferry, but we've got 14 white horses to sell, and the elves are particularly taken by white horses. So as we walk through the streets, we're approached several times by an elf who will offer to buy one. Now Stephen says sorry, we already have a customer. That customer is somebody called Prestel, and Prestel lives in this building. Right, the first thing we can do is we have to offload these horses. We're told her base offer price is 120 gold. If the adventurers are selling, the NPC's initial offer is 1/3 of the base offer. She is just offering 40 gold pieces for each, which is a terrible offer. So let's see what she finally does offer. So Sylvia is going to do the negotiation at Stephen's request because she is an elf. She also gets a +1 charisma modifier. So we will add 2 onto her roll. And that is a 10 altogether. With a bit of back and forth and negotiation, she eventually offers 100% of the base price, which is the 120 gold. So 120 times 14 is 1,680 gold. We get half of that because that was the deal, and Stephen takes the other half. What are we going to do with Taras? He's going to hang around for a bit until we work out what we're going to do next, but we might as well go to the inn and see if we can book a room. And this is the Silver Swan Inn, and Silver Swan Inn is owned by a halfling called Stubbs Platterman. He prides himself on a good clean place and a good menu. We have plenty of gold to pay for his prices. But as we walk into the inn, there are a couple of elves there who stare at Sylvia, and then after a brief second call her name and open their arms and say, Sylvia, where hast thou been for the past many years? And Sylvia recognises these as 2 of her childhood friends, so she immediately walks up and embraces them and begins speaking in Elvish. Her backstory is that Sylvia is under a curse, a gash, and this curse was enacted upon her at her birth by some evil mage, and it was done as revenge against her parents. Her parents were too powerful to be cursed. The mage's power didn't extend that far, so he took it out on their only daughter. Her curse is she would reach a certain age and be struck with a need to go wandering and to search for something, and if she stayed put for too long, she becomes ill and she starts to sicken. She can hang around somewhere for a couple of weeks, but she needs to move on or else she starts to feel debilitated. Now the thing is, because the curse happened when she was a baby, the only people who know about it are her parents' generation, and they have all kind of been sworn to secrecy. So none of their children, who are Sylvia's friends, know about this, so they just believe she disappeared and went off. Not too many elves do go wandering, but it isn't unknown, so they just believe that Sylvia is struck by wanderlust, but they don't realise that actually she's extremely homesick, and seeing some friends from home almost brings her to tears. So the party take a seat at the inn, and she comes over to their table and says, "I hope you understand, but I would really like to spend the evening talking to some friends who I have not seen for years." And of course we say okay. And that's how we spend the evening. When we go to our beds, we wake up the next day, ready to set off for Threshold, and Sylvia says to us at breakfast, "I want to stay. I can't go home, but this little outpost is almost like home. I think I want to stay here." The party immediately ask, "How long for?" And she says, "I don't know, until I start to feel ill and have to leave. It might be a week, it might be a month." Malin says, "Is this where we have to say goodbye?" And Sylvia looks pained and says, "I don't know. No, I'll catch up with you later. I can't stay here forever." And Donard says, "Are you going to abandon the quest? What about the search for Gulthar and the Lost Valley?" And Sylvia gives a sort of puzzled, bemused look and says, "We have fought all the goblins, and we have helped all the people of Sukuskin and the villages. That part of the quest is over. We're looking for a lost valley. That valley has been lost for over 1,000 years. Nothing is going to happen to it in the next 2 weeks. Also, we're going to Threshold. That's your home. When we go to Threshold, you will probably want to stay there for a bit, and when you do, I can catch up with you." Now she has a point. I mean, that is the mission. And Stephen says, "What about Gulthar?" Stephen is kind of obsessed with Gulthar since he was tortured by him for some time, but Gulthar has disappeared, and as Sylvia points out, we are the ones who had the tapestry and the magic needles which showed us the map. Gulthar doesn't have the map. He doesn't know where this lost valley is. He could be heading in any direction, north, south, east or west. There is no reason to think that the path that we are on is the same path that he is on. And that, again, is a fair point. Gulthar has lost. But Stephen reminds her that he was seen in the company of this striking-looking dark-haired woman who was asking questions. What if these people come to Rifllian? And Sylvia shrugs and says, "I'm amongst my friends. I will rely on them to help me with that one." While we can see there's no budging Sylvia's mind, and we shouldn't really persuade her, she is in many ways a very lonely person. As much as she does like the fact that she can travel with company, that is not what she wants out of life. She wants to go back home. So we can't deny her a few weeks of staying at home. Especially as she points out, we're going to Threshold, which is the home of Donard, Liz and Malin. So we're going to have to set off the next day and say goodbye to Sylvia at the front door of the inn, and she does cry, but she says she will put these 2 weeks to good use. We are going to send Taras to Sukuskin with the gold, and also we have to say goodbye to our own horses. The road to Threshold is not suitable for horses, which explains why there are very few trader caravans that go that way. We are going to have to go by riverboat. Right, Sylvia is not going to waste her time when she is here because we have the weapons mastery system. Sylvia has been level 4 for some time, so she has qualified for weapons training. Remember, demi-humans have a basic skill in all weapons, whereas humans can only choose a few. The flip side of that is, instead of training at every 3 levels, they get training at every 4. Which also reminds me that both Donard and Liz have a chance to weapons train again, and Malin has yet to take up that. We'll see what happens when they get the Threshold. But Sylvia wants to train in the longbow, and there are many elves here who are very skilled in the longbow who can teach her. Now, to move from basic to skilled with an expert trainer requires 2 weeks of training, 250 gold per week, and a 70% chance of getting this correct. And yes, she gets it at 51, right? I did think, because I was rolling for Sylvia, that she would fail, But no, she succeeds. So as we travel north and go to Threshold and see what adventures await us there, Sylvia is working hard training on her longbow skills and she succeeds. Right, despite a history of not succeeding. But let's just see what benefits she gets with the longbow. She now rolls 1d8 plus 1. That's different from Liz with the short bow, which is still d6 plus 2. So she's 1d8 plus 1 for her damage dice, plus 2 taken off her Thaco. So hopefully, with all of that, she will kick ass a bit more. She does have a longbow plus 1. So that is in effect 1d8 plus 2 for her damage dice, and her missile Thaco has dropped to 14. Okay. We say goodbye to Sylvia as we have to take a boat northward. So the party go to bed on the 8th of Yarthmont, and it's a slightly unhappy time. They've said goodbye to Sylvia, who has been with them day in, day out for months, but they know they'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when. Okay, I mean, it's just really like saying goodbye to somebody who's going on a holiday for 2 weeks. It's not that dramatic, but she would have been useful. And she is right, when the party do get the Threshold, they probably will want to stay there themselves for some time. So okay, it's not that unhappy a time. Liz gets to have a room to herself, though she starts to actually miss having company. And Donard goes to bed thinking that the worst thing that's going to happen to them is trying to get Carrick into a boat. But there are worse things that can happen, and one of them is the weather. So they wake up on the 9th of Yarthmont, and the weather is heavy clouds, stormy rain, and strong winds. Donard says to the boys in their room, "We're not going to set sail today," and that's true. They go down to the dock, and the ferryman is in his little hut, and he just looks at them like they're mad to even think that anything is going to happen today. If the weather is good tomorrow, they will set sail. They say goodbye to Sylvia in a rather heartfelt way. Now they think, well, they're going to have to spend the rest of the day in her company after saying goodbye, which is one of those embarrassing situations. But Sylvia is nowhere to be found. She is off with her own friends, and I think she might be in this long building here, practicing her archery inside, and as we've seen, she does rather well at that over the next 2 weeks. However, Sylvia herself is not having a good time. Elves are described as being valuable friends or dangerous opponents, but usually prefer to spend their time feasting and frolicking in woodland glades. They rarely visit the cities of men. Elves are fascinated by magic and never grow tired of collecting spells and magic items, especially if the items are beautifully crafted. So that suggests to me that the elves are like the elves in The Hobbit. If you remember when Thorin and company first make it to Rivendell, they don't see the elves. They hear them in the trees, singing nonsensical rhymes and having a laugh. I think that's the kind of elves that are being described here. Sylvia, well, she's beginning to miss the rather naive ambitions of Liz, who wants to still live in the big city. She misses the curiosity of Malin, and she most definitely misses the rather stoic bluntness of Donard, and even our dwarf with his love finding made beautiful things and good advice. Well, she misses that. So Liz is sitting in her room looking out this little window at the rain pouring down outside, turning the earthen streets into mud. And, well, she can do nothing but think that Sylvia must be having a good time with her friends. Well, soon they'll be in Threshold, and Liz can hang around her old friends. So that's the rather wet day of the 9th of Yarthmont. There's not much else to say. But there is. Having nothing to do, the party just talk to the locals at the inn, especially the little halfling innkeeper, and they talk about a striking looking dark-haired woman. And yes, she has been seen in Rifllian, and indeed she did seem to come from the direction of Kelvin, but nobody has seen her for the past couple of days. Now the DM is told where she is. We're even given a name for her. She is called Yolanta. Our in-ring watchers searching for the adventurers. The reavers Yolenta and Gactus, accompanied by 2 hounds, arrive in Rifllian the day before the party. Yolenta and the hounds entered the village, but gaining no news of the party, rejoined Gactus, and the 4 then hid themselves in a wooded knoll overlooking the village. So the reavers have seen us arrive, and they will set off. Now somebody will follow us. All of this is known to the DM. How this will be imparted to the party or to the players, I don't know, but yes, our arrival here has been noted. So that ends the 9th of Yarthmont. Fingers crossed, we'll wake up the next day, and if the weather is good enough, they will be able to take the boat north to Threshold. So the party are going to wake up on the 10th of Yarthmont, and the weather is much better. The rain has stopped, the wind has calmed a bit, and it's time to take the boat to the north. This is a cargo riverboat, and it is called the Mudlark. It's got 10 crew members, and it's got Captain Scylla, and it even gives the description for the boat because, well, in this adventure we've had horse riding for quite a bit, and now we're going to have some boat adventures, which is again something new for us. Right, we're given the price of the boat, which is 19 gold each. We're part of a cargo hold which is going to Threshold anyway, and we set off in the morning, and sure enough Donard was correct. The worst thing that's going to happen to us is trying to get Carrick onto the boat. So we set off, and as we get to about here, there's a body floating down the river with several arrows stuck into its back, and this seems to be the body of a merchant woman. Well, she must have been dead for a couple of days if her body has risen to the top of the water and is floating. This boat is powered by people rowing. We are going upstream, so the people who are rowing stop the boat and use the oars to drag this body towards us. And we can see that the arrows are of a special kind with black feathers. We haven't seen that like before, but it's a sign of something up ahead. Well, we continue on until the evening. When we were looking at Rifllian, you might have noticed this bit of a giveaway, and it's called Scange Attack or Scange. I'll go for Scange. And our boat is coming up the stream here, and round this river bend comes another riverboat. And it is again being rowed by some people, and as soon as it sees us, there's a volley of shots fired. Now we have 10 crew members, 8 people rowing the boat, Captain Scylla and another crew member who might be the boatswain, and we have the 5 of us, so that's 15 altogether. 3 of the rowers are on the wrong side of the boat, so that leaves 12 who can be targeted by these arrows, and there's a volley of 10 arrows that come at us. There will be a -1 THACO penalty for short range, so let's see who they go for. So we've got the 5 of us who are numbered 1 to 5 and 7 of our crew members. Okay, well that's Carrick who gets shot at and also a crew member. So Carrick was the orange dice and the crew member was the green dice. The one misses Carrick, and that one misses the crew member. The second volley of shots. Again, that's Carrick, and this is a different crew member. We'll do that again. And that misses Carrick. That's a 9. In effect, that was a 10. -1 for the long range is a 9. Their THACO is 19, so that hits AC 10. That's another miss. The third volley of shots. Both of those go for crew members who have been targeted before. Right. And that one hits for 2 points. The fourth volley of shots. One of those is for Stephen, and one of those is another crew member. The one on Stephen misses, and the one on the crew member hits and kills him outright. The fifth and final volley. And those are 2 more crew members. Both of them get hit, and we've lost another rower, so our rowers are down to 6. Our boat is laden with cargo, which makes it slower, and this boat is coming at us downstream, so they're going to be faster, and eventually they will catch up. But after that volley of shots, Malin and Liz duck underneath. And eventually, this other boat pulls alongside. The rowers who were being shot at tried to do a reverse. Some more arrows came over, so they themselves have largely hidden behind here. We have Malin and Liz under cover here. We have some cover of our own because of the cargo on the boat. Now this boat is going to try and grapple us, but before it can get close enough, we're going to do another round of shots. Malin is going to cast shield. So let's roll for initiative. And it's mutual, so I will do all of their archery. So the only people they really have sight on is the captain, another crew member, and Donard, Carrick, and Stephen. So that's 2 on each. We'll do 2 on Stephen. And both of those miss. We'll do 2 on Carrick. Both of those miss. We'll do 2 on Donard. If they have a short range bonus, that one will hit Donard for 2 points. And we'll do 1 on the captain and 1 on this crew member who are both hiding behind some cargo. That's going to be 14, which hits AC 5. So that's our captain down to 10 HP. And the last 2 on the crew member. Right, and both of those miss. So it's our turn to return fire. I'll do Stephen on an archer, who hits and takes 1 down to 2 HP. Carrick, who hits and kills 1. I'll do Donard with a sling. He hits a sling. He hits and he takes 1 down to 2 HP. That's the archery round. Liz is going to have to come out from under cover, and Malin is going to have to start casting a few spells here. Round number 2. And they get initiative. So the boat is going to come alongside and they're going to try and grapple. Now they need to roll a 1 or a 2 in order to grapple. And they get it. Right, so that's the turn of their 8 melee guys. So they have 9 archers. That's 2 each on Donard, on our team, and 1 on the captain. No, we'll do 1 on Malin. So it's 2 each on our team and 1 on Malin. That's an 18. That hits Stephen for 4 points. Both of those missed Carrick. Both of those missed Donard. Both of those miss Liz. And that misses Malin. That's their turn. Our archery turn is going to be Stephen and Liz. We'll do Stephen, who misses. We'll do Liz, who hits and kills one of the damaged ones. So there's 8 of them left. We'll do spells, and Malin is going to cast Haste, and Donard is going to cast Strike upon himself. And Carrick is going to get ready to be boarded by these 8 swordsmen. So it's round number 3. So these 2 ships have closed up on each other, and it's not possible, I don't think, for all these 8 crew members to jump on board at the same time. Some of them are still going to have to try and tie up the boat. So let's roll for initiative. And we get initiative. Right, we've got archery. Okay. Now does Captain Sylvia have a bow himself? Or herself? Captain Scylla? No, Captain Scylla only has a sword. The rest of our crew are hiding. They don't have any armor, and they're considered normal men. So it's our archery, and we're going to have Stephen with 2 shots. We're taking out their archers, and that's a miss. That's another miss. We have Liz with 2 shots. And that's a hit and a kill on 1. And that's a miss. Right, we have spells. You know, why don't we cast Sleep? We have it, and this is a desperate situation. Malin is going to cast Sleep. And just so you know, the 8 melee crew members are considered level 1 with 4 HP. I have upped them to level 2 with 8 HP. So let's see how many go to sleep. And that's pretty crap, that's 3 of them. So these 3 go to sleep. These 3 have been killed, so there's only 4 archers left. Melee, and 4 of these crew members have made it to here. And they jump over the side of the boat. Cutlasses waving, shouting. What can Donard do? Didn't cast Bless, but nonetheless, he's got striking on him and 2 attacks. His first attack misses. Second attack hits and easily kills a crew member. So one of those is dead. Carrick has 2 attacks. He's on 1 crew member. And he easily hits, but doesn't quite kill. It's down to 1. Can he get another hit? And he fails with his second one. So there are 4 archers left, and they are going to move up the boat and target Liz and Malin. That's 2 on each. The 2 on Liz both hit, but they do really crap damage. That's 2 points off her. She's down to 19. The 2 on Malin, one of them hits for a massive 6 points. He's down to 8. Then there are 3 melee guys who are about to attack on this round before the rest join in. So we've got 1 on Donard, who misses, and we've got 2 on Carrick, and they both miss. Right, round number 4, who has initiative? We get initiative again. Malin's going to hide. He's going to hide behind this little shelter, which is on the boat to protect any sensitive cargo from the rain. He's hiding behind it. Liz and Stephen are going to take out the archers. Right, I'll do both their shots at the same time. Stephen hits with that one, and he also hits with that one, because not only does he get a short range bonus, but these archers only have an AC of 7, and that 3 + 1 is enough to kill another archer. There's only 3 left. Liz. She hits with both, kills 1, there's 2 left, and takes 1 down to 1 HP. Our melee round, and the boys have each got 2 attackers on them, and Donard is going to attack 1. And he hits and completely mauls 1 to death. He turns around on the other one, and he hits AC 6. They have AC 6, and that's enough to kill the other one. Carrick is going to take on the 2 that are on him. Ah yes, there was one that only had 1 HP. He kills that one, and he turns around and kills the other. So there's only 3 left, and they and the captain jump aboard and they attack. So we'll do the 2 that are on Carrick. Both of those miss, and we'll do the 2 which are on Donard, and the green dice will be the captain. He's got a slightly better THAC0 and damage. And he hits and does max damage. That's 9 points off Donard, down to 31. I didn't do their archery round, so we'll do an archer on Liz and Malin. No, Malin's hiding, so the one on Liz misses, the one on Stephen misses, So we're on round number 5. We get initiative again, 3rd time in a row. Archery, Liz. Hits and kills another archer. There's one left with 1 HP. Stephen misses him. There are 4 men boarding the boat. I'll do Donard's first attack, which misses. Second attack. Well, he does hit AC 7. That's a miss. Oh dear. I'll do Carrick's 2 attacks on the 2 that are on him. And both of those miss. Bad round in the melee. Right now, their turn. I'll do their archer on Stephen, who misses. I'll do the 2 on Carrick, who hits for 4 points. It's down to 25. And I'll do the 2 on Donard. Both of those miss. Round number 6. And they get initiative. I'll do their archer again. Mrs. Stephen. I'll do the 2 on Carrick. Both of those miss. I'll do the 2 on Donard. And that one misses. They need a natural 20 to hit him. That was their go. I'll do Stephen on this one final archer, who misses. And I'll do Liz, who misses him. Now we have spells. No, I should have declared a spell cast before this round began, because Donard didn't get hit, but if he did get hit, then the spell would have been cancelled. So just because he didn't get hit, it's not fair for me to suddenly say he casts Hold Person. He strikes at the captain. Yes! And does 10 plus 6 damage is 16. Captain Rothgar, who is also the mayor of East Haven if you play Icewind Dale, is dead in one go. And he turns around, after fumbling his previous round, looks at the second Scange and hits him and kills him. There are 2 left. They are on Carrick. Oh god, and Carrick misses. Not good. I thought that would be over, but we're on round number 7. They get initiative. The archer misses Stephen. There are 3 crew members left. I'm going to roll a morale check. And their morale holds up. There's one on Donard, who misses. Our other 2 crew... Do you know, I admit I have forgotten how many crew members are left. Both of those miss Carrick. So it's our go. Stephen, take out this archer. And he misses. Liz. She hits and kills him. That's all the archers gone. Donard hits and wipes out one crew member. Has a go at the other one. Hits and wipes him out. Carrick hits and wipes out the last crew member. That attack is over. That went on quite a long time. I'm going to have a break here, and we will continue this in the next session, and we will leave it like this. Okay, so I'll see you all then.